Chris Orenson says, first and foremost, the 49ers need to draft a right tackle or a guard. Look, he's starting it strong. We need we need an offensive lineman all the way. At least 3. I don't want anything else but that. Brock Purdy needs to be protected at all times. No, Tom, this was the determination I was asking from you earlier.
Okay. No, I respect the passion.
I think he watched our stream last week when Tom and I talked about how if Jed York, John Lynch, and Kyle Shanahan had as much cojones as Eddie DeBarlo and those guys, that they were more than willing to commit an entire draft to one position. But we don't
one position
anticipate
group.
that will be what
but
the
yeah,
49ers
would that
will
be
do.
true with this group? No. You can say that, no, I want these guys, I want to protect Purdy. I get it. I agree that part of what they need to do in the evolution of the offense is to do a better job of investing in the offensive line. Has to happen. Because in the playoffs, you look at it and say, okay, in both Super Bowls, why did they lose? In part because playoff games are won on matchups, and they lost the matchup on the offensive line. Chris Jones dominated in both games. And part of why is because the Niners didn't invest in the offensive line. So you need to do this. But at the same time, you can't say, I want a tackle to take a tackle at 31 or else. No. Don't force yourself into taking the 8th best tackle in the first round. Don't do it. Look elsewhere. Find the player who's actually going to get on the field. Yeah, I agree that at tackle, they need to look at somebody that can take over for Trent. That's job one in terms of the offensive line investment. But after that, it's who's good and when and where. Yeah, there's good people in the second. There's good people in the third. There's good people in the fourth. There's good talent available in all of the offensive line positions.
In those lower rounds too, I think that is important.
There's good depth.
I want them to go with their first. I'm not dismissing this. I want them to go align with their first pick, but it is important to remind people they can also, even if they do go align with their first pick, doesn't mean they won't also draft offensive linemen down the road in the draft.
They need to.
They definitely will target it as well.
It can't just be one guy. It needs to be a lot more of an investment than that. And especially in this draft, if you don't take multiple offensive linemen in this draft, you're blowing it. Because this draft is saying, here, we're presenting you with this. Here's the opportunity. This is the deepest draft for offensive line in 5, 10, 15 years. So leverage that. If the draft is going to give you that, take advantage of it, do it. And that means go get somebody. But what you do when is going to be the key in this draft is, can I go up and get somebody, or do I wait at 31? Now, Al Bundy says Tyler Guyton. I say no. And go back to what we said earlier.
We had a whole breakdown.
Yeah. And I'll just say that he plays too tall.
Elevator
he lacks power. He lacks technique. He's a project. No. At 31, I want a player that's capable of starting this year. I don't think that Tyler Guyton is that. I think that he's too far away on technique.
There we go. Okay, Tom. I think that might be it for today.
Okay.
I had a really good time.
It was fun.
I want to say one other thing, and this has nothing to do with football, but it was just cool. Something that I learned. Because I've talked a little, really quickly. 8th best O lineman is still good. 8th best O line is still
deep and good. That's true, but at 31, are you getting a player that's going to see the field? That's my cutoff. And so in this draft, you get rare ability in terms of somebody that can take over at left tackle for Trent Williams. But that's the top 6. Then there's a deep drop to the next group. And that's Guyton, Morgan, Suamataia. Guyton, as I just said, project. Morgan is now rated, Daniel Jeremiah has him ranked 49th out of his top 50. Suamataia is late second, early third. So those aren't guys you take 31. So
you can learn. I like how this is almost as much as quarterback controversy, O-line controversy, baby. Yeah. I didn't know when I brought up the Mims versus Tyler Guyton. I didn't know it was
Yeah.
going to be such a war of
Well,
words.
everybody is committed to their position. I found that the fan base is saying
I'll
that
be
there's a
happy
lot
if
of
the
people.
49ers get an offensive lineman that can end up
Well,
starting at some point this year.
yeah, but
I hope
that's
that they're
only the
aggressive
top
about it.
6 at tackle. That's
I hope
just
they're-
the top 6,
Yeah.
not the rest of them. And
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah,
problem with Tyler Guyton. Now, yeah, eighth best OL is likely top 2 to 4 in last year's class. Yeah, and next year's class isn't good. That's true too.
Yeah.
But at 31, my barometer is, will they see the field this year? And that's my question on Tyler Guyton. My answer is no. He needs power and technique, and he plays too high, and he's a waist bender. Yeah, that's a lot to
Not a
overcome.
waist bender, Tom. Not a waist bender.
Now, Suamataia, I've seen as low as 3rd round. Most of the mocks that I've seen have him mid-second. But again, is that someone you take at 31? No. As I talked with
Unless you want that
Zerline,
extra year, right?
well,
When it
you
comes
could want the extra contract year. That's true. But do you want to drop basically half a round to get to target Suamataia? Yeah. You're taking a player at 45 and you're taking him to 31. Is that smart? Probably not.
I am interested if it is I don't know the age of Suamataia, or Tyler Guyton, or I know that you said Tyler Guyton is younger, but I could see the benefit of taking a guy like that at 31 in the first round. If they are younger and you anticipate that it'll take them a year to get on the field, then they do need that. Maybe that extra year is then helpful. Now,
Right.
I'm with you. I'm team, no matter who it is, if there is a guy that you can trade up, I don't think you need all 10 picks, but
no, you don't. Yeah, and so Marco's saying 100% I take Suamataia at 31 all day, every day. I don't any day, anywhere, anytime, period. I don't like Suamataia. Here's my issue. 5-star, goes to Oregon, can't see the field. Goes to BYU,
this guy
doesn't dominate. Goes to Mobile, and my conversation with Zerline, he got beat technically. He lost on technique to people that were more powerful or more quick. And there were times when Suamataia won at Mobile. There are times when he lost. But when he lost on technique, power, and speed. And the question with him is, okay, he's got 5-star tools. No one questions that. He had 31 bench reps. He has great speed. But he's never put it together technically.
Yeah, and we've talked
and
about.
So he left.
You don't want to
Oregon.
fall for traits
he
as
left.
much. You want to. You know what I mean? You don't want to fall for pro day numbers as much as you do.
Yeah, it's just I look at the testing, but I still come out and say, what's the career narrative for Kingsley Suamataia over his 4 years? And he hasn't put it together yet. And so if he hasn't put it together in college, why is he suddenly going to put it together in the pros? Especially when you look at Mobile and you say, how did he get beat? When he got beat technically. He got beat by players that have the same level of physical talent, that they're either stronger, faster, whatever. But Kingsley hasn't put it together. That's my issue. I don't take him. Sorry. I know some people love the guy. And I look at the tools and say, absolutely. But then I look at the technique and I look at the career and say, I got questions.
And if we look at the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan and what they like, I do think that they tend to be people who, and whether or not this is right or wrong, I'm not saying, but just when we look at how the 49ers have moved, I feel like they probably prioritize technique even over attributes.
Yeah. Well, they're going to want to see somebody that does what they do well. And so, does he have good feet? Yeah. He's quick. Does he have power? Yes. He can drive people off the line. But his technique is a work in progress, and it always has been from day one. This is a 5-star talent who's never dominated in college and left Oregon. That's a big red flag to me.
Now, I see a lot of back and forth going on with the different offensive linemen, but Al Bundy comes in and says, you want an offensive lineman that can play this year, you need to be top 20. So the 49ers are rumored to want to go into the teens. Now, with that rumor came a tight end, but
well, it's eye of the beholder is basically what the story is that after all, everybody has a favorite, everybody has somebody they don't like, and so it goes down. But what's the consensus of people that do this for a living and watch it? People like Zerline. What do they say?
now I will
They say
that
that after 6, there's a drop off. Now with Kingsley, I will fully admit he's got all the tools in the world, but he has to put it together. He hasn't.
I will say, knowing absolutely nothing about like college football, the guy who transferred from Oregon State to then BYU, I'm just not a fan of. I feel like that's a problem that the transfer portal kind of like started for the NFL is you can be unsuccessful somewhere and then transfer somewhere else. And to me, I'm like, well, if you can't be successful in one place, like, why do you think you can be successful in the NFL?
Well, more of
Or
an
at least to their
opportunity
level
because
doesn't make more sense.
Oregon is a top 20 program, and so it's tough to crack that group of players to get on the field. I get that.
But with your first round pick, you want someone who would have the
But yeah,
ability to crack
if you're a first round talent, you should have cracked. And early in his career, he didn't. Yeah. Kingsley had a lot of those physical tools in high school because, again, 5-star recruit. So everybody knew that he had the tools. He always has. But it's just, if you couldn't crack the field in Oregon and you didn't dominate at BYU, why am I suddenly supposed to believe that he's going to be great in the NFL? You can look at the numbers, and the testing numbers are off the charts. But we always knew that. He always had the physical tools, but he hasn't put it together. Now, he could get just great coaching with the Niners. Forrester could put it all together for him, and he could be huge. But we'll see. It's just, I trust Zerline just because he was there and he saw every rep. I didn't see every rep. I saw film where Kingsley won and where he lost. And where he lost, I agree with Zerline that it was due to technique or due to a player that was physically more gifted, be it in power or speed. And you don't want to see somebody that's a 5-star that's losing on physicality. And the technique stuff is just, to me, that's my issue. Now, whether the Niners have that issue or not, we'll find out. But to me, I don't think that Suamataia is the right choice for them. I get the upside. I get that he could be a left tackle eventually. He's got as much as anyone in this draft physically. But the track record and the history say it's still a risk.
I don't know if this is fair, but I would hope that whoever the 49ers get with their first round pick, and maybe once again, there's a difference in having a top first round pick and lower rounds, but I would wish that the 49ers could get someone where it's just like across the board, everyone agrees this is going to be an incredible player. It does kind of suck that it's like, oh, they finally got in the first round, but because they did so well last year, getting all the way to the Super Bowl, we're still having these arguments where it's like it could be a boom or bust prospect. Yeah. Chris Orenson, we did talk about
Roger. Kuiper. Yeah, that's too early for Roger. He's another guy
we did give our reasons why it could be possible.
Yeah, but for me, I see him as a mid-second pick, not 31. But getting back to the point of Zerline, should we always trust these people? Should we trust Kuiper? No, we have to trust our own eyes. But I'm still going to take into account the opinion of someone that saw every rep when I didn't. But I know what I saw in the film that I did see. And the film I saw that Kingsley won sometimes, but he also lost. And he lost for the reasons Zerline pointed out. I can't hear your audio.
With that being said, everyone should like and subscribe to my YouTube channel because you guys know I have my eyes on the prize and watch every rep no matter what. I can tell you all there is to know about every player in the draft. I am a wizard. But anyways, I hope everyone has a really good day. I enjoyed this little back and forth debate. Everyone should like and subscribe to my YouTube channel because I'm going to have Marco on Friday, who was joining us in this chat, and maybe he can give some of his reasons for why I'm not Kingsley. Is that his name? I'm gonna not butcher his name, but why he thinks he could be in the first round. So far, I've made this clear. I'm team trade up a little bit, target a guy like Mims. If you can even get better than that, that'd be great. I also did. I feel like I talked myself into the Brock Powers decision making sense.
Yeah, it makes sense for Kyle.
if they did that, they would definitely be looking later on in the draft for offensive linemen. So we'd really have to change what we were evaluating there. But I definitely can see some of the fan base being like, why didn't you go
some people are going to look
line?
at that sideways, but when
Yeah.
they think about it, they're going to say that what this team can do with the 2 tight end set of having Bowers and Kittle, they can do a lot with it, and Kyle can do a lot with that.
Now, do you want to know something that has nothing to do with football before we change it?
Before we go, I just wanted to give a shout out to Marco for thanks for the conversation. It's great stuff.
Whoop, whoop. I should have maybe we'll do this a different time around. I've gotten like comments of people asking, I don't know what day the draft is yet. Like I know it's in a couple weeks, but I don't know what day of the week it is. But I've gotten comments of people asking if I'm going to be live during the draft, post game after it. It'd be cool to have a show maybe where all 3 of us talk at the same time.